OpenAI have just brought back the Browse with Bing feature, which is now available to ChatGPT Plus users. In this video, I will break down a number of use cases for this new capability. In the past, if you wanted to ask questions in ChatGPT that talked directly to the internet, you would get some sort of vague statement about September 2021 or January 2022 being the cutoff date for knowledge. Yesterday, OpenAI released this new feature to the GPT Plus users called Browse with Bing. And what it allows us to do is look at live data on the internet. So here we have Google Trends, we've got daily trend searches, here we've got real-time trend searches. And as I look through them, one of the items that happened in the past 24 hours, we've got Hulk Hogan and Brooke Hogan, some sort of story going on there. If we head over to ChatGPT and we'll go, what is going on with Brooke and Hulk Hogan? ChatGPT will now use the Browse with Bing functionality and go look up that information and then return a result based on the information it finds. Brooke Hogan missed her father Hulk Hogan's wedding to Sky Daily. This is a great new addition to ChatGPT, the ability to do live searches and not worry about these September 21 or January 22 cutoff dates. I want to go through a bunch of use cases, but to get started, what we need to do is activate the feature. Now, if you've gone to ChatGPT Plus and you head up to the GPT-4 item here, you'll see there's nothing in here about this new feature. What you have to do is click through to the three little dots, and this will take you to the settings and beta area. We can click on there, go to beta features, and there's this new item called Browse with Bing. If you turn that on, minimize this, you now have this capability that you can turn on. Now by default, you can go back to the old way of working, or you can have it in play. The first use case I want to work through is just using the internet to find information. Now, if we ensure that we've got the Browse with Bing feature turned on, we can go put in a message like, what is David from Appy Dave known for? Now, if I just bring up my website, should come up here, we can see that the information here is quite old. It was done about 5 years ago when I was working more in software development, microservices, software architecture. When we look at it, we can see that David from Appy Dave is known for micro apps, vlogging, what I'm doing right now, dancing, which is my passion. We've got a bunch of other information there. The first use case, the simplest, is just go and find some information about an existing website. For the next use case, I want to search recent information on YouTube channels. To get started, let's look at two different YouTube channels. So Appy Dave is a channel I started about 4 months ago on using ChatGPT to write software. The information within here, especially if we go down to the description, it's been there for a couple of months. We should be good with it. The other channel we'll look at is Appycast, which I've only just started. It's where I do long form behind the scenes on ChatGPT and prompt engineering. What's going on in here is I've got a description that I only updated about 10 minutes ago using ChatGPT. I don't have confidence that we'll be able to access this information, but we'll see. I also have some videos that are a couple of days old, like custom instructions for researching how to cut YouTube scripts in half, that sort of stuff. So for this next use case, we will go over to the Appy Dave channel and we'll put, what is this channel, YouTube, Appy, and we'll just say Dave, about? And we can see it failed on that. Now, I'm not sure why. I think this information has been around for a little while. We can test it with the other one. Of course, if it didn't work for Appy Dave, it's very unlikely to work for Appycast. Having a look on YouTube at the moment, specifically telling us to go to the About page. I wonder if we can go back up here and press edit on both of them. We'll just say /about, I believe is the URL. We'll press submit. And it's not finding information, but there is a link. What happens if we press that information? At least it takes us to the URL. I'm assuming if we drop back one and do the same thing here, that we're going to have exactly the same result. We'll press about. We have a similar result, but we do not even have the link in this case. One more test here is what would happen if I gave it an actual URL to a video. So I popped over to AppyCast. I have a video on a particular custom instruction that I set up for ChatGPT. If we head over here and we ask the question, what is this video about? I've just pasted in the URL of the video. It's starting up the browser. Hopefully it starts looking. That one failed. Let's test it a different way. Often this is all you need to do. And this time it worked, which is odd. One question failed, the next question succeeded. I think we're going to see a few of these. If it didn't work, try again sort of scenarios. Basically what it's gotten is the title. It's given a small opinion on what it's about, hasn't read the transcription. We're making progress on our ability to read relatively new information on the internet. I think if we go back to that particular video, it was created 9 days ago. That information at least came through. For the next use case, what I want to test is whether it can get local information about a region and maybe even the current weather patterns in that region. Now we're working with the idea of you are a weather and tourism expert. I want to explore it in 3 different ways. The first technique will be just the simple prompt technique using the Browse with Bing feature. Then we'll work with GPT functions, which is a software development way of interacting with GPT to achieve this similar sort of concept. And then we'll look at this custom instruction, which is a more advanced prompting technique that you can use within ChatGPT Plus. Getting started with this weather and tourism simple prompt, I'm going to add a constraint of say yay if you understand. We'll press enter and it's given us some really limited information. Yay, how can I assist you today? I think we will ask about a place called Chiang Mai in Thailand. Can you give me the weather in Chiang Mai this month and tell me some things to do? And if we go and have a look at Google, we've got weather in Chiang Mai. It looks like it's 23 degrees and rainy at the moment. And we've got a little bit of information here. We'll head back to our prompt, press go. It's browsing for information. It's looking up the weather on October the 20-something. It's getting information from Weather tab. And here we go, October 23. So there's a shopping center in Chiang Mai called One Niman. It's got a whole lot of different shops and food. It would have events like tango. And I was living there, and things like yoga and these dance venues were stuff that I was always trying to use Facebook groups to find. So this is the sort of information that over time I'd like to be able to get out of ChatGPT. So when I ran this prompt for One Niman, it's given us a little bit of information about October, which is next month, and that there is a jazz event and there's other things going on there. So this is not a replacement for Facebook or Instagram or other places that you get event information, but at least it's starting to go down that path. Let's move on to the next way we might interact for tourism and weather. I'll just show custom functions just to see what can be done. This is not part of this Browse with Bing idea, but this simple prompting technique is working quite good with the Browse with Bing, but let's take it up a notch and see what else we can do. So if we go over to custom instructions, we might be able to do something here that uses the Browse with Bing. I'm not sure, we'll have to see. But I'll also take it a little bit further and just check out this idea of OpenAI ChatGPT functions. As preliminary setup to this next idea of GPT functions, what I'll do is I'll just type in today's date, and it's telling me that it's Friday the 29th and we're in Brisbane, and we might just say what the weather is as well. This is important, 26 degrees, and what to do in Brisbane as a tourist. And we got some information about Queensland, South Bank, museums, etc. What I want to do is just see what would happen if I ran this through a more advanced routine. This next information might look very complex, but the main thing to look at is what was the weather in Brisbane? And the flow did something simple like look up the geographic location and run it through an advanced prompt to get a whole lot of current weather information today and tourist information today. We can already see that the information about Brisbane being a capital with cultural precincts fits in very much with the information that's coming through from ChatGPT. The risk of getting too far away from the Browse with Bing concepts, which we will come back to. This is essentially just an advanced prompt linked up to what is the weather like in Brisbane. When it needs information from the internet, it can call functions, get current weather. We can see this in action. If we go back to our original example of Chiang Mai, let's just run this little bit of code against Chiang Mai rather than Brisbane, and essentially what it's doing is going off to the internet to get the current location as a longitude and latitude. That information is probably popping up just here. Going and talking to ChatGPT with the original prompt that we had up here somewhere, mixed in with this value, can return an expert's advice on what the weather is and what the things are to do in Chiang Mai. So we have average temperatures, cloud speeds, wind speeds, and then we have a bunch of things that we can do in Chiang Mai, such as the night bazaars, the elephant sanctuaries. But since this is a video about Bing with ChatGPT, I'll move back to there. But if you're ever interested in information more programming related with ChatGPT, you might want to check out my Appy Dave channel where I talk specifically about coding with ChatGPT. Now, we just tested a regular GPT function, and we've also done the simple technique using the Browse with Bing capabilities. What I'd like to do now is just see if we go to custom instructions, can we create something like a weather and tourism expert that gives us really quality information based off commands, but also using the Browse with Bing functionality. Don't know what custom instructions are or when to use them. I have other videos on the channel that'll talk about this, but for now, let's just go over to Visual Studio and we'll look at a simple example. So the idea is that you can set up the context, and I do that by having this concept called a role. We've got the role of tourism and weather expert. And then what I've done is given it a basic synopsis of what it's meant to do and a list of commands that I'd like it to respond to. So we've been working with cities, so I've got a city name, maybe a country name. I have weather, get me the information or the weather information from that country, and a to-do. And if we use the to-do command, I'm hoping it's going to give me tourist information about that region. For the guidelines, I think I might go to the programming from a few months ago and take this information, and I'm just going to add that in there. Now, this information would usually go into our custom instruction. I'm going to grab everything. I don't need the role, just that it's a tourism and weather expert. And we'll head over to our custom instruction and just paste that in. The other thing is, how will it respond? For the city, I just want it to get the current city. If it can't get it, so if I said Sydney, which is in Australia, Sydney is also in Canada, so it might need clarification. When I ask for the weather, there's a bunch of fields that I would like it to try and get. I don't know whether this is going to work. We're going to see this together. With the to-do, I might want a specific thing that I want to do. I might want to go dancing, I might want to go fishing, whatever. And I might want 3 items, or I might want 5 items. So by default, it'll do 3. Take all this information and we'll drop into how would you like ChatGPT to respond. And when you do custom instructions, they always work for new chats. So we'll just start a new chat and we'll go up and we'll make sure the Browse with Bing is on. We are now in a new chat window. I'm going to work with a command that I always put into any of my custom instructions called help. And if we run that, it's just going to tell us what this bot is designed to do. And we can see here that we have the city command where we can give a city name and a country name. We've got the weather command, which will tell us information about the city. And we've got the to-do. So I think we can test it with city, and we'll do Chiang Mai again. And press enter. Let's see. So the current city has been set to Chiang Mai, Thailand. Now you can request weather and tourist information. We'll just say weather. Should have had a shorter command. We'll just do that and see what happens. Now it's browsing, so this is great. We're using a custom GPT instruction, but we've integrated it with the Browse with Bing capability. And it's the 29th of September, 76 degrees Fahrenheit, humidity 95%. That sounds about right. Chiang Mai is a very hot and sweaty country at this time of year. And I think the last bit of our weather expert or weather and tourism expert is that we try the to-do command. Now you don't need to give it any other parameters. We'll just see what it does. It should give us 3 items. It's currently looking up information on the internet from Chiang Mai. We're at the crazy tourist, 25 things to do. And we've got visit Doi Sutep, explore Niman Road, which is where One Niman is that I talked about earlier. Take a trip to San. I can't say that. But you know, I'm a dancer and I like to do a bit of yoga. So instead I'm going to say to do 5 by yoga or dance, and hopefully it's going to find some useful information there. So yoga and dance activities in Chiang Mai. I don't know that the current monthly events information is that easy to access on the internet at the best of time in Chiang Mai. So we might get more general information. And we certainly have, this is current information, of course. We got November 12th to the 17th. There's a retreat. There's something going on in May. So that's already happened. There's something going on in June and July. That also has already happened. It also hasn't given us 5 items. These custom GPT commands or instructions don't always work the way you want. This is pretty cool. We can now mix GPT instructions with browse with Bing and get current command-oriented information. And if we just change over to Brisbane, in fact, I'll do Sydney because that might run into this issue of the name of a city being in 2 locations. So we'll say city and we'll say Sydney and we'll press enter. Hopefully it's going to ask for clarification. Now it's set it to Australia, so we might be able to go city, Sydney, and I think it's in Nova Scotia. I don't know. Yep, great. And we'll just say to do 5. What are 5 things that you can do in Sydney in Nova Scotia? And there you go. Now, if you're from Canada, you can tell me whether this is true. I've never been to Canada, but we've got something in Cape Breton. This has just been a quick walkthrough of the browse with Bing functionality that got added yesterday to ChatGPT. When I started this morning, I had the idea of I want to communicate with the internet and ChatGPT. I think we've covered that. We've definitely covered using different variations of tourism information and weather information. The idea of building an AI bot for the too long didn't read style of niche, or a trading bot to get prices of stocks in time, is something I want to develop. Subscribe to Appycast. This is where I do a lot of my behind the scenes sort of work like we did today. If on the other hand, you're interested in stuff more programming related or automations that might work with Midjourney, like prompt builders or automatically running prompts within Discord, then you could pop over to my Appy Dave channel. This is where I do more programming related work with ChatGPT. I'm Appy Dave. It's been great working through the Browse with Bing capabilities. If you're interested in any other videos, then probably up in the corner there'll be a video around something to do with prompt engineering, GPT, or a little bit of programming.